Do you trust Kim Jong-un?
Yes, I think that I've had a very good relationship. We have a good chemistry together. You know what that means, and that happens sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. And I really believe he's looking to maybe even beyond trust, he's looking to do something for his country, maybe for his family, for himself, but he's looking to do the right thing.
If he doesn't make good on his commitment, what is the U.S. prepared to do?
Well, first of all, we came to a wonderful agreement. It's a shame that the fake news covers it the way they do. It's honestly, it's almost treasonous, you want to know the truth, because we signed an agreement, and the big thing that they said was, I met. Okay, you know, there was nothing else you could say. They could say, I met. Well, in the meantime, we got our hostages back. We get the remains back of our great heroes that have died, thousands and thousands of young people. But the big thing is the denuclearization, and it says right in the first paragraph, and if you listen to the mainstream media, it's almost like I lost a negotiation. And it's not even a question of winning or losing. I'm not saying it from that standpoint. But look at all of the things we got. There's been no missiles fired. There's been no rockets fired. Japan thinks I'm like a world hero over there. They said, we haven't had missiles going over Japan for the last 6, 7 months. They were sending them over like it was the 4th of July. And so many other things, no nuclear testing. They're getting rid of their engine factory where they make the engines for the ballistic missiles. They're doing all of these things. And then to hear the mainstream media, that was the thing that most angered me. To hear the mainstream media. Chuck Todd actually stood up and said, the president got so little and North Korea got so much. And I'm saying, what did they get other than I met? I did meet. Now, the war games, that I call them war games, I've been against them for a year and a half. They cost a fortune. We fly bombers all the way from Guam, 6.5 massive bombers, drop bombs, and then they go back to Guam. Then they come back a second time. It's crazy. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars on these war games. We're not being reimbursed by South Korea. We're not being reimbursed. And I've been after this a long time. I say, number one, it is very provocative. But number two, who wants to spend this kind of money?
The embassy was moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. I was there. It was as surreal a moment as I've ever witnessed. You made that promise. You kept that promise. What was it that just made you decide to do what no other president, even though they had promised it as well, what made you decide, I'm going to do this because I said I would?
Well, the embassy was a big thing, but it was for many presidents before me, and everybody campaigned that they were going to move the embassy to Jerusalem, and nobody did it. And I never understood why, but I do understand now, because 2 weeks before I did it, when the word was out that I was going to do it, I was called by so many countries saying, please don't do it. I mean, I was called, actually got to a point where I said, I'll call you back in a week, because I didn't want to have them tell me don't do it and then I do it, because I was going to do it. It was a campaign promise. I thought it was very important. And you know who really likes it the most are the evangelicals. I'll tell you what, I get more calls of thank you from evangelicals, and I see it in the audiences and everything else, than I do from Jewish people.
It's not a surprise, though, Mr. President, because evangelicals are people of the book, and they believe that you kept a promise that was fulfilling really 3,000-year-old commitment to recognize Jerusalem.
But nobody did it. I never understood why. As soon as that second week hit up, and once I did it, it was something very special. It's an important event.
Immigration has been a controversy over the past several weeks, and what is it that Americans need to know that they're not hearing from the media?
That it's the Democrats' fault. They refuse to sit down and draw an agreement that's good for security and good for everybody. We need people that can help us. We want a merit-based immigration system. We need safety at the border. We need the wall. The wall's going to happen. It's going to happen. We have to have the wall. If anything, it shows how much we need the wall. But it's the Democrats' fault, but it wouldn't be their fault for long if they sat down with us. We could make a deal so quickly. But it's looking like they really want open borders, and they want really crime to pour in, because, you know, we have people. We're doing an incredible job in terms of security. MS-13, horrible gangs, we're getting them out by the thousands. But our job would be so much easier if we had what we need on border security, border safety. We need the Democrats to come to the table and make a deal.
Are you optimistic that you'll be able to persuade Congress to come to the table? I mean, you've been more generous than they even originally asked for in terms of everything except the wall. They don't want a wall. But if they give you the wall, you're giving them more than they originally asked for. Well, a wall and very strong border security, and get rid of catch and release, get rid of the chain migration, which is very tough, get rid of, and you know, the all-time beauty is the lottery. We pick names out. So do you think the country is giving us their finest? So we don't want a lottery system. I mean, who can blame a country, Honduras and these different, why are we giving them aid when they're letting people pour out of their country? And they're pushing them out. When they're letting people pour out of their country and they're coming through the borders, why isn't Mexico stopping them more? Had I not gotten on the phone and let them know when they had the caravan, you know, it started with 2,000 people and about 100 people got in. But Mexico has very, very strong immigration laws, like really strong, among the strongest. They could stop them cold if they wanted to. There wouldn't be people walking across Mexico like that. But we wouldn't even have to worry about that if we had strong border laws, which we have to have.